Welcome to the Valley of the Sun. You're looking at downtown Phoenix, Arizona. And tonight inside Chase Field, the Pirates and the Arizona Diamondbacks play Game 3 of a 4-game series. Hi again, everyone. I'm Tim Neverett. Bob Walk joins me shortly. Last night, the Pirates scored 8 runs over the last 2 innings to beat the Diamondbacks. One of the stories coming out of that, Diamondbacks slugger Paul Goldschmidt injured when he was hit by this Ernesto Frieri pitch while pinch hitting in the 9th inning. That's our Allegheny Health Network injury update. Goldschmidt today placed on the disabled list with a fractured left hand. The Diamondbacks not too happy about the situation. Manager Kirk Gibson expressing that after the game last night. And following the final out, first base coach Dave McKay approaching Russell Martin, expressing his opinions on the matter. The Pirates have said there was no intent. Ernesto Frieri apologized, and Clint Hurdle today said he feels bad about the whole situation. But Bob, sometimes when situations tend to escalate, there can be some retribution. What do you expect tonight?
I don't really know exactly what to expect the Diamondbacks to do. You could tell that it wasn't a horrible pitch. It's just one of those cases where a pitcher's trying to throw a power hitter inside. You got to pitch him up there, and the ball got away a little bit, ran in, and it's unfortunate that somebody got hurt. That happens occasionally, and you got to be able to turn the page. But you can imagine how we would feel if it was McCutchen that got his hand broke. We wouldn't be too happy about it, and that's basically, I think, what's going on in that other clubhouse.
Pitching tonight for the Pirates is Vance Worley. Vance comes off his best start as a major leaguer.
He really did a great job with the control, but watch the little late movement that he had on his fastball. It really was impressive, and I think that's what led to all the soft contact. It runs in, gets on the handle of the right-hand hitters. It'll run away, get off the end of the bat to the lefties. And that's really been a great pitch for him to go with that superior control that he's been showing.
Vance pitching a complete game shutout against the Giants last time out on Monday. Well, last night the Pirate bats came to the party a little late, but the offense sparked the Bucks in the desert. We'll take a look at the Pirate bats when we come back to Phoenix.
big hit.
Mercer rips it into left field. They have come up and bitten the Snakes bullpen.
Chase Field in Phoenix, Arizona. The Pirates looking to get ahead in this series, looking to win their second game against the Diamondbacks here. Series even at a game apiece. Offense was good last night. 13 hits, 12 of them coming from the 6th inning on. Harrison had a pair. Polanco, McCutchen, and Pedro Alvarez a huge pinch hit double. And could this be the start of something big for the offense that's been somewhat scuffling lately?
It has. Josh has probably been the steadiest of that group, and he got a little bit of a tear there with the home run ball. But all four of those guys, but the last three in particular, they have not been swinging the bat all that well, to put it mildly. And maybe last night, the way that game ended with all the emotion, that'll get him going. I mean, I don't think Andrew McCutchen can hit a ball harder than he did last night.
First pitch coming up from Arizona. First, let's go back to Pittsburgh. Dan Potash standing by with this game break. No Neil Walker in the lineup. A late scratch due to tightness in his lower back. So Josh Harrison moves into play second base. The lineup brought to you by Toyota. Harrison leading off. And you look at his numbers from last night. A couple of hits. His 30th multi-hit game of the season. Polanco, McCutchen. Davis moves into the cleanup spot. Martin batting fifth. Alvarez now sixth, with Snyder moving into the starting lineup with Walker out. And Snyder will hit seventh. Mercer eighth. And Vance Worley, the pitcher, bats ninth against rookie right-hander Chase Anderson.
Well, we were able to chase Anderson fairly quickly in that first start that he had at PNC Park. Not a real hard thrower, just kind of an average fastball at best. Some people say the changeup is his best pitch.
3 2/3 innings last time. Pirates ended up hanging the loss on him on the 2nd of July at PNC Park. So Buccos ready to go tonight against the Arizona Diamondbacks. And after The way the game ended last night, you wonder what we'll see here tonight from the Diamondbacks. It is a first pitch strike to Josh Harrison. Here's the 0-1 pitch. 1 ball and 1 strike. There was a lot of conversation today around the ballpark about what could happen here tonight. It's just conversation from different folks in the press and otherwise. As Harrison hits this one nearly playable for the first baseman, Jordan Pacheco. Let's take a look at our Rivers Casino tips to win.
Well, the first one is because of all that conversation about what might happen. I just kind of threw that elbow guard thing up there. Hopefully that turns out to be just a joke, and they won't have to use that. Don't wait so long. Let's score early. I don't want to wait to the last couple innings again tonight. And Jared Hughes, I think, is going to play a big part in a win tonight. That 7th inning might be his as a bridge between Worley and the Watson-Melanson duo there at the end.
Ball and 2 strikes to Harrison, and McCutchen certainly aware of the situation tonight. And Josh lays one down the left side. That's going to be a base hit at least, and he's going to try for 2. Harrison on his way to second. He's safe with a leadoff double.
I love that late hard slide, feet first. It is kind of an old school look. I understand that, but it is definitely the quickest way to get to that bag, because you don't have to start your slide very early, and you're not really slowing down much. You're using your leg as like a shock absorber as you hit the bag to slow yourself down and then pop right up in case the ball gets away. It's a great fundamental baseball play. Josh Harrison with that good hard late slide and then popping up, being aware. And when you pop up like that, you're in a much better position to give the Z.
That's right.
And that's maybe the best part of it.
Maybe the most important factor, right?
Exactly.
Gregory Polanco takes a strike. Polanco homered off of Chase Anderson last time he faced him in Pittsburgh.
That ball that he hit down the corner, by the way, was a down and in strike. Looking at the hot zones for J-Hay earlier, he's hitting .417 against right-hand pitchers who throw the ball down and into him. And that is an area that Anderson should be trying to stay away from. And he just added to that .417 with the double.
J-Hay with 20 doubles now as his incredible season continues. Chase Anderson made his big league debut on the 11th of May in an interleague game against the White Sox. 0-1 pitch. Polanco takes inside, ball 1.
So Gregory should be definitely trying to hook this ball to that right side.
At the very least, he wants to get Harrison to third.
I would love to see him try to just take a bunt with him to that side. I think probably half the time that he gets one down, he's going to be a for a base hit.
In the air to center field, Inciarte underneath it.
It's not going to do it, I believe.
Inciarte guns it to third base and keeps Harrison at second. 1 out.
But back to that bunt play. I mean, there's no downside to that. You move the runner from making out.
Defensively for the Diamondbacks, presented by Volvo, Trumbo, Inciarte, and Peralta in the outfield. Marte at third base again tonight. And Hill and Pacheco on the right side of the infield. Montero doing the catching. And here is Andrew McCutchen. Let's see how they pitch to Andrew. Ball 1 to McCutchen. Dave McKay in the middle. He was upset last night when the game ended. Let Russell Martin hear about it. Well, it's 1-1. McCutchen hitting .307, 17 home runs. Russ was in the middle of that discussion at the end of the game last night, trying to relay the fact there was no intent. And there was a question asked to Kirk Gibson after the game last night about why the Pirates were pitching inside with a 5-run lead. I don't know if the lead matters at all, does it?
No. Who asked that question?
I don't know. I just read the clips today and it said that. Someone asked that question. So what difference would the lead be? What would that matter? But, you know, the Pirates have been known to hit a lot of batters. Charlie Morton.
Okay,
the
person that asked that question, I think, thinks that pitching inside means trying to hit people. Right. It has to be. And why would you be throwing at somebody, you know, with a big lead? And I understand it, but no, as a pitcher, you have to pitch how you can get the guys out. I mean, that's what you're trying to do. I mean, that's how you do your job, make your money. But you get like, okay, we got a big lead, so let's just lob them in there. I mean, that doesn't make sense. Yeah. The only thing that a big lead affects is that you don't want to walk anybody. That's a ridiculous question.
It was, I thought, and I'm glad you agreed.
But that got me up on my soapbox. I can't believe somebody said that.
Yeah. Well, Kirk Gibson said, you know, it's their philosophy to pitch inside.
It's everybody's philosophy.
It should be.
Inside.
It's baseball. It's part of the game. Now, Charlie hits a lot of guys because of the way that he pitches.
My first year in the minor leagues was 1977, and the first lesson was pitch inside in A ball. And it's the game. That's like teaching you to run the first after you hit the ball.
Okay. 1 to Davis. No balls, 1 strike to Davis. Davis pushed up into the cleanup role with Walker out of the lineup tonight due to some tightness in his lower back, so precautionary for Neil Walker to sit this one out. He might be available off the bench late if the Pirates need him. Goldschmidt has a little bit of support on his left hand. He took the ball off the top of the left hand last night in the 9th inning. And, you know, it was a night off for him, but he had to be used as a pinch hitter late in a close game. And we were looking at his numbers against Volquez prior to the game. He's a .500 hitter with a home run and a few extra base hits against Volquez, and yet that was the night the Diamondbacks decided to sit him out.
Yeah, they had played him and it never happened. Look at it that way.
So I think part of the reason the Diamondbacks are so frustrated, that just a part of the reason, is in fact they've had a lot of injuries this year, and it's certainly no fault of anybody's. But
and Goldschmidt is to them what McCutchen is to us. I totally understand why they would be upset, but after 24 hours you realize, hey, that's part of the game. You can't control who gets hurt, who doesn't. Some years you get a lot of injuries, some years you're the lucky team and nobody gets hurt.
2 on, 1 out, 2-1 to Ike. Now it's 2-2. Pirates batted around in the 9th inning last night, and Ike made the first out and the last out. Plate umpire Ron Culpa, the crew chief. 2 balls, 2 strikes to Davis. Harrison and McCutchen aboard. Count is full, 3-2. A good chance here now with the bases loaded and 1 down. Here comes the payoff pitch. Go get another one. Davis came in the 8th inning last night, ended up going 0 for 3. That's unusual, especially in a 9-inning game.
They got a lot of at bats. Didn't two of them come in one inning?
They did. First out, last out. The ninth. The 3-2 from Anderson. And down on strikes goes Davis.
That's the changeup that everybody has seen Anderson pitch up here and at the minor league level really like. The location is just horrible, right down the middle, but it still gets a swing and a miss. It tells you the kind of character that pitch has.
So 2 men out for Russell Martin. Martin came up with an RBI single in the 5-run 9th inning last night. Two on, 2 out. Here's the pitch. Upstairs. The 5-run 9th was the first time the Pirates had scored 5 runs in the 9th inning of a game since the 28th of April last season when they beat St. Louis. One ball and no strikes to Martin. This fouls it back and it's 1-1.
Kind of like the color combo on Russ's bat, huh? Black and gold.
Yeah, he's got the gold tape. One to Russ. Two balls, 1 strike. Russ likes the fact he's been able to catch 3 straight games. Typically on a weekend, we'll go Friday, Saturday night, and Chris Stewart will catch the day game. But with 3 straight night games and then a day game tomorrow, this is in there for the 3rd straight game.
Loves to play. He is one of the most high energy games, most high energy guys you see in the game. I mean, he just is always in the middle of everything. I'm not surprising that he was in the little bit of a talking about that play last night after the game was over. When I saw that it was him, yeah, that makes sense.
Full count. Now the runners will take off with this pitch.
He's one of those catchers that's going to do absolutely everything to protect his pitcher.
I don't think it's a coincidence that since he came on the scene, the Pirates have been a winning ball club.
I agree with you.
Payoff pitch. And Martin chops it to 3rd. Backing up is Marte. Long throw to 1st to get him. And the Pirates waste a leadoff double from Josh Harrison. Half inning in the books, no score. Diamondbacks coming to bat against Vance Worley. had their first shot at the Diamondbacks. No score. Take a look at the Diamondbacks lineup now. It's brought to you by Honda. And their Inciarte will lead off. Last night he had a 3-run home run in the 5th. It was his 2nd home run. Aaron Hill will bat 2nd. David Peralta 3rd. Mark Trumbo cleanup. The catcher Miguel Montero and Jordan Pacheco. Didi Gregorius hits 7th. Andy Marte starts at 3rd and hits 8th for the 2nd straight night. Chase Anderson bats 9th against the Vanimal.
Now Vance really did an outstanding job of showing everybody how you pitch with a lead, which included him pitching in a little bit also, by the way, in that ball game. But I mean, he was very aggressive. He didn't pitch away from contact, didn't try to strike a whole lot of people out, just went about his business. Had a nice little late tail on his fastball. They got him some soft contact, stayed out of the middle of the plate, got a lot of easy outs.
So Inciarte at the plate. The young center fielder takes the ball low. One thing we noticed about Worley was the pace of his game last time out Monday in San Francisco. He grabbed the ball, got the sign, and threw it.
Probably what everybody should do. Don't overthink anything.
100 pitches. His first career complete game shutout. His 2nd career complete game. Both of them have come against the Giants. And a strike to Inciarte. Inciarte has surprising pop, and the ball that he hit last night in the 5th, it was a no doubter. Off the yard in right center field.
Got away the back wall of the swimming pool area.
They're in the bottom part of the strike zone. Same spot as the first pitch of the game that was called a ball. There's a slow tapper towards short. Mercer on the run. He makes the play. Sweet play by Jordy Mercer to retire the speedy Ender Inciarte.
Excellent play. Inciarte really flies down that line. This was not easy at all for any shortstop. Used his glove. Good idea, because that ball was going a little too fast for the bare hand.
He gets out of the box quickly.
You watch that in real speed. You wonder how the umpires do it. It's just a runner just flashing by and balls hitting the glove.
You think they're listening more than almost as much as they're watching. Just listening for certain sounds they become accustomed to. Vance rattling the ball in his glove. There's a breaking ball away. 1 ball, 1 strike. Aaron Hill, 250 hitter, 9 home runs. He's 4 hits shy of 1,300 for his career. 2 balls and a strike. Last year in April, Pirates played the Diamondbacks. Former Pirates pitcher James McDonald ended up hitting Hill on the hand with a pitch, and Hill had some broken bones and ended up missing 2.5 months. Just a good chunk of last season because of that.
Doesn't look like the hand has any extra padding on that glove. Hey, I would definitely have some kind of a hard piece of plastic shin guard material over the back of that hand.
1 out single for Hill.
I don't know why everybody that wears gloves should.
This was the pitch last year from J-Mac on April 9th here at Chase Field. First road trip of the season for the Pirates, and he got it on the left hand.
It's identical.
He also was out for a bit after being hit by a pitch earlier this season. So the pitch now to David Peralta, the right fielder. 1-0 to Peralta. 1 on, 1 out for Arizona. Bottom of the first. Peralta used to be a pitcher. He was a converted pitcher. He was a minor league pitcher with the Cardinals in 2005, 2006, and 2007, and then reinvented himself. And the Diamondbacks signed him in July of 2013. And now the D-backs are looking at him as being an answer in right field. Slices this one foul. That certainly is not an easy thing to do, to reinvent yourself that way.
No, it's incredibly rare.
Rick Ankiel was pretty successful in doing that after his struggles continued as a pitcher, and did okay as an outfielder and a hitter. This one is flared into center field, but after it is Mercer. What a play. Goes to first, and too late to get the double play, but Jordy with the over the shoulder catch, and there are 2 down.
He really didn't put much on that throw to first base, and I think that was by design. Thinking, nah, I don't want to take a chance of throwing this away, so I'll just put a nice easy one hopper over there. And if Hill slips or something, then maybe we'll get the out.
That bat's no good anymore.
But if he would have just whirled around and threw it as hard as he could, then ball could always end up over in the dugout or in the stands. He took a little off that toss.
I chatted with Clint the other day about Jordy and his defense, and he said that he has become a very dependable shortstop, which in the world of shortstops, that's a nice compliment. So his defense has progressed a lot over the past couple of seasons.
Now that was the question mark when he got up here. Was he going to be able to play shortstop on an everyday basis with the glove? I think everyone was pretty confident that he was going to be able to hit. And he's proven himself now. I think being able to be teamed up with Barmes was a great thing to have for him. Barmes is such a good teammate, a teacher, the perfect kind of veteran that you would like to have. Kind of show the young guy the ropes and give a little advice on some different things. And Barmes, of course, is a outstanding defensive player.
3-0. Pitch inside, ball 4. 2-out walk is issued to Trumbo. And the Diamondbacks now with 2 on. That's Worley. Issues his first free pass of the night. Catcher Miguel Montero. .257, 11 home runs, 59 runs batted in. Montero went 1 for 4 last night. He had a double in the 4th inning. Strike 1 to Montero. Montero with 1 hit in the series so far. He is 1 for 8. Took an 0 for 4 in game 1 on Thursday. No balls, 1 strike to Montero. Hill at second. Trumbo big lead at first. And a ground ball to short. Mercer there. He will throw on to first base. Diamondbacks are done. On to the second. No score in Phoenix.
Sports is brought to you by Toyota. Now's the time to go places with Toyota. Visit buyatoyota.com for special offers. And by PNC Bank, for the achiever in you. Let's go Bucks!
Top of the second inning inside Chase Field. Roof closed again tonight. Usually is this time of year. The pool is busy. A lot of black and gold out there. Well, Neil Walker took a dip out there yesterday.
They were very loud in the pool during batting practice and just before the game. They had the whole place yelling, "Let's go Bucks!" I mean, it was. They've made their presence known. All the Pirate folks out there at the pool.
Well, here's a guy who made his presence known last night in his only at bat, Pedro Alvarez. A 2-run double in a pinch hitting role. Back in the starting lineup tonight. Takes ball 1. And maybe, you hope maybe, that's the start of something good for Pedro. He's had some struggles both offensively and defensively. And pitch outside 2-0. But that double, Bob, really made solid contact. He barreled it up. And a lot of the hits we've seen him get recently have been opposite field flares. Got one last night. Got a hold of it. Two and 1 to Alvarez.
You'd love to see him get back where he was last year. That would just with the doctor order going down the stretch these last 2 months of the season as far as the pennant race is concerned.
McCutchen has had a very tough road trip up until last night. Seems like he's got it going again.
Pedro led the league in home runs last year. That was just last year. It's not all that far-fetched to think that he could, get hot and really do some damage toward the end of the season.
In the air to right center field. Inciarte will make the catch. One out. Chase Anderson came into the game 6-4. He won his first 5 decisions. For a youngster to come in and all of a sudden be 5-0, that's saying something. But things caught up to him a little bit. Although over his last 3 starts, he's 1-0 with a 189 earned run average. Snyder takes outside. Diamondbacks gave him a little bit of a break based on the All-Star break. He had 14 days in between starts, so he got some significant rest.
His ERA has been trailing downward all year.
Pacheco to the bag, 2 down. 2 men out in the top half of the second inning. The Coca-Cola Fan Pack is available every Sunday home game, starting at just $35 in advance. Receive a lower outfield box ticket, a fountain drink, a hot dog, and a soft pretzel. Get your tickets at the PNC Park ticket windows or visit pirates.com/fanpack for every Sunday home game. Jordy Mercer back in the 8th spot in the order. Takes a strike. Jordy had 2 doubles last night. Was 2 for 4 with a walk. He scored 3 runs. Really stung the ball a couple of times last night. Stings this one right into the glove of a leaping Aaron Hill. A hot shot right to the Diamondbacks second baseman ends the half inning for the Pirates. to 1979 to watch the Pirates beat the Reds in Game 2 of the NLCS on Root Sports Classics. See this legendary game with stories from Dave Parker, Kent Tekulve, Manny Sangui, and Phil Garner, Grant Jackson, and Stan Savran on Big Red Machine Broken, Monday, 7:30 p.m. on Root Sports Classics. No score, bottom of the second inning. Youngsters enjoying themselves tonight. As the Pirates have 2 at-bats, nothing across. Vance Worley will face Jordan Pacheco, Didi Gregorius, and Andy Marte. Pacheco, former Colorado Rocky out of University of New Mexico, facing Vance Worley. Worley, another college player from Long Beach State. And you see that rattle that he does. Picked that up when he was at Long Beach State. Inter-squad game. One of the assistant coaches was noticing how he was tipping his pitches, and Vance figured it out. But they knew what was coming, so he started to do that so that he wouldn't tip his pitches. 1-1 to Pacheco, 247 hitter. Pacheco was 0 for 4 in last night's game. 1-1's fouled off. Ball and 2 strikes to Pacheco. Kind of appropriate that Vance rattles the baseball against the Diamondbacks. Bouncer to Pedro, off his glove, and Pacheco's aboard.
Well, this ball is hit hard. It has a lot of life on it on this next hop. Came up.
This is going to be reported as a base hit for Pacheco. Leadoff man aboard for Arizona. Now Gregorius, the shortstop. Takes ball 1. Well, one of the things they do deal with here is a hard infield, so a lot of times that first bounce that comes off the dirt in front of the plate, even the grass out there, it can be a hard field because they do have to keep this roof open often to let the sun hit the grass, and it just bakes in the desert sun. They try to keep it as soft as they can. They water it constantly. Two balls, no strikes to Gregorius. There's a strike, 2-1. It's definitely a unique challenge for the grounds crew here. They don't have to worry about rainouts and rolling the tarp and things like that. They just have to keep the grass growing and keep it green, which they couldn't do when they opened this ballpark. They washed the grass before they played their very first game here, and they had to put paint on it to make it green. And they threw out pretty much every baseball that touched the grass anywhere because it had green paint splotches on it.
Yeah, they've been fighting that here for a long time. Really, it's been a challenge ever since they invented domes. In the Astrodome, they had trouble.
Oh, what a play by Snyder. Incredible catch by Travis Snyder. Highway robbery in left field as he takes a base hit away from Didi Gregorius.
A nice early break on that ball. Had to go head first with the dive to come up with it. Very good play.
Got it in the palm of the glove and then had to squeeze it.
We talked last time when Vance pitched about the defense. You know, when you're one of those guys that get the ball, throw the ball, work fast, the defenders are a little more ready, a little more on their toes.
Andy Marte, first ball swinging to right center, long run for McCutchen, and he makes a circus catch. Throw to first base, will be offline, no double play. But what a catch for the reigning National League MVP, Andrew McCutchen, showing off his skills.
I wonder if Mr. Gibson will come out on this one, because I thought it was a trap.
And Kirk Gibson is going to come out. So the call originally an out. And let's see. I think he got it. What do you think?
I think he trapped it.
Hit his glove. I'd love to see that angle again. The umpires are going to put the headsets on. This will be a manager's challenge for Arizona. Take another look.
Was it hit kind of the grass and the glove at the same time? You're going out, huh?
I think he's out.
Well, we'll see what New York decides.
They just showed it on the
I think I know how everyone else voted.
Yeah, the folks in Arizona don't agree with me.
Interesting to see how they interpret this.
Yeah, I mean, it hit the outside of his glove as well.
But I think what they're also going to say is it also hit the grass. So I don't know. I just have a feeling that could be the interpretation. That's why I say it's going to be interesting to see which way they call this. I don't really know it. When I saw it in real speed, I thought it was a trap because you could see the ball hit and then bounce up.
See right there, it's part grass, part glove.
If it's all glove, I don't think there's a question.
Yeah, but it's half and half. It looks like, but this will be interesting. I don't know.
If it was NFL, what would they call?
Call well, the ground can't cause a fumble.
No, I'm talking about if a receiver's catching the ball and it hits the grass.
They call it no catch. Probably.
We'll see what they do. They're taking a long time looking at it, so you know that when that happens, to me, it's flip a coin 50-50. You're not. Anytime they take this long, they're not real sure.
That is the best view you're going to see of it right there. Now, the more I see it, Bob, the more I think maybe not. I actually wouldn't be surprised if it went either way. Now, the Pirates did get the call initially, the out call initially, and if New York decides by the video evidence they can't tell, then the call would stand. And it would still be out.
We definitely have that going for us.
So here's the call. Ron Kopel's going to tell us right now. He's out. So the Diamondbacks lose their challenge. Kirk Gibson doesn't agree.
No, we do. 50-50. Nice job, Tim. You nailed that one. So that's why everybody's booing, because you can see the ball is in the grass.
2 minutes and 49 seconds on the video review from New York. So it will go as a catch from McCutchen, and there are 2 out for the Diamondbacks. And Worley's pitch. A strike to the pitcher, Chase Anderson. And certainly, you know, Kirk Gibson, you don't blame him for challenging.
No,
that's a play you got to challenge.
It looked to me like it was in the grass. But I think the fact that the original call was out is what made the difference.
No runs ahead, 1 left. Andrew McCutchen with a tremendous catch. his displeasure over the call. And again, you got to understand now with this expanded replay, the umpires at the stadium have nothing to do with
the call.
The call.
Yeah, it's out of their hands.
Therefore, there is a rule that says you can't argue a call if it goes against you.
Because you're arguing with the guys that didn't make the call.
Yeah, you're trying to shoot the messenger. Yeah, you can't do that.
The officials that made the call are in New York, and you can't argue with them because they're in New York. So I guess he did the next best thing. He went after the home plate umpire.
And he did get ejected, so it was an automatic ejection at that point. So Kirk Gibson out of the ball game. Vance Worley will lead off for the Pirates in the third inning. No score. Anderson's pitch. And Worley takes a strike. Worley's just 1 for 18. So Alan Trammell, the bench coach, takes over. There's the ejection right there. That happened, and then Gibson came out and perhaps got his money's worth. Third time Gibson has been ejected this season. This ball is fouled away. And it's 0-2 to Vance Worley. Here's the 0-2. Vance pulls one to Gregorius at short. He backs up a few steps. Goes on to first base to get him. One out for the Pirates in the third.
Worley seems to be a little on the unlucky side when he's hitting. He makes as good a contact as just anybody we have, and can't seem to find some holes. Any pitchers we have, he always puts the ball in play pretty much, and sometimes really hits it hard. We got one hit so far.
Vance is a better hitter than he's showing. So Alan Trammell now will take over for Arizona, the former Tigers shortstop. He and Lou Whitaker combined as a double play combination in Detroit for a long time. 1-0 pitch to Harrison. Breaking ball in for strike 1-1. Josh doubled in the first inning. So 3 straight extra base hits. In the 8th inning last night he had a triple. In the 9th inning he had a double. And in the first inning today with a double. Harrison hammers this one deep to left field. Back it goes. Gone. A home run for J-Hay. What do you say, Josh? Home run number 10. And the Pirates on the board, 1-0.
I think that pitch wasn't even a strike. I think it was off the plate inside.
That's 5 home runs in 7 games for Harrison.
I have to start putting J-Hay at cleanup.
There's Polanco. He swings and misses.
Look at the location of that ball is inside off the plate fastball. It's not a high velocity pitch. It's 90 miles an hour, which is average at best, but still able to turn on it that quickly and hit it like that. Keep it fair. A lot of times you turn on a pitch that's a little off the plate inside, you can't keep it fair. You hit it with the head of the bat and it goes way foul.
4 straight at bats for Harrison. 4 extra base hits. 7 straight hits for extra bases for Harrison. And you go back to the 9th inning. On Thursday he had a double. And then his last hit before that was the third inning on Wednesday in San Francisco when he had a home run. Had a home run also Tuesday. His only other hit. Hot shot down to first. Pacheco will grab it. 2 men out for the Pirates. Here is McCutchen. Some grumbles from the crowd when McCutchen is introduced.
They are really upset with that call.
Strike to Kutch. McCutchen hit one off the center field wall last night that had enough velocity, it might have gone through it. Here's the 0-1. 1 ball, 1 strike. McCutchen walked his first time up. Kutch ended up scoring a couple of runs last night. Drove in a run in the 8th inning with that double off the center field wall. And was intentionally walked in the 9th inning and came in to score also.
I don't see him swing and miss and then be that much off balance very often. He almost fell across the plate. Same thing on that swing. I mean, he's really taking a rip on these last 2. Watch his back leg. Comes around the pitch before that where he missed it. He went all the way almost to the other side of the plate with it.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Kutch has 31 doubles. That was double last night. He's now second in the National League in doubles. Here's the ground ball to second base. Hill will throw him out. Pirates get a run on the long ball by Josh Harrison. 1-0 after 2.5.
Solo shot putting the Pirates ahead 1-0, and I'm with a group of Pirates fans here, Tim and Bob, and they're all soaking wet because Josh Harrison hit the home run. They all decided to do cannonballs into the pool, but they're led by this guy. It's Paul Hogan. He's a Pittsburgh firefighter lieutenant in the Hazelwood District. Paul, 37 people made their way from Pittsburgh to take over the pool. How do you pull something like this off?
Well, we started off with about 6 people a few years ago. Then it turned into 8, and it became so much fun. And then it was 15, then it was 20. Then we got a little sponsorship from some people, and now we got 37 people. We're turning them away. And I got to say one thing. to the Arizona Diamondbacks. They have rolled out the red carpet. This is a wonderful place, and that's a wonderful organization.
Now, one thing you're trying to do here is every time the Pirates score a run, you're all jumping in the pool. Is that right?
At the very least. I mean, if they even try to score a run, we're going to jump in that pool.
Okay, so I think we'll probably have to track their progress tonight, Tim. Let's just hope maybe in the 8th and 9th inning we see what we saw last night, 8 runs in the final 2 innings.
Well, the more cannonballs, the better.
Yeah. Anybody else want to say hi to back home?
We got the Pittsburgh firefighters here, local number 1, class 111. We got city police officers here. We got McFadden's. We got Canner Dental. We got Dio Automotive. We got everybody here. This is a great time. Let's go, Bucks!
We'd like to thank these guys for their service, all the police and firefighters and everybody else here. 37 people all the way from Pittsburgh for 2 games. They're going to be really loud the rest of the game, Tim.
Well, they were loud during batting practice.
Yeah, they've been loud out there for a while with that "Let's Go Bucks" chant. It's really been great that when the guys were out there doing their exercises before the game, their players were staring out that way.
Yeah, they have made their presence known for sure. That sounds like a lot of fun. And Cincinnati fouls this one off.
You know, it's nice too that the Diamondbacks have allowed them to do that, and have been so nice to them and set them up out there with the swimming pool. That's a great thing also.
Well, Jay Hay gave them a reason to all get wet out there. Solo home run, and Cincinnati takes the ball, and the count full, 3-2.
How about a cannonball for every time Worley puts up a 0? That would be nice. There's a little love for the defense. Can't all be about offense.
Rowdy making friends. And Cincinnati right at Polanco. 1 out. Cincinnati's 0 for 2. So Vance now will face Aaron Hill. Hill singled off him in the first inning. It's great to see the groups of Pirates fans. I mean,
yeah, they're not all in the swimming pool. There's just many out.
There's a lot of them
different
here.
Groups. It is amazing. Everywhere we've gone on this trip, it's been packed like this. Denver, that we saw a ton.
Hot shot down to Pedro. He's got it. Throw to first base is low, and Ike makes the catch.
And Hill
is out. All right. So Pedro's got that one out of the way.
That was an absolute bullet. It was a tough ball to handle on both ends. That's a rocket right there to Pedro. And then they gave a little bit of a challenge to Ike. Ball bounced out. I think it actually got out on the edge of the grass a little bit, which might have made it a little easier.
Allegheny Health Network Super Mode. A look from the third base side. Peralta takes inside for a ball. Like game 1, get charged for an error on a low throw by Pedro that was catchable for Davis. 2 outs, a routine ground ball, and it turned into 2 runs. Pirates would end up losing the game 7-4. Those 2 runs became pretty key. Nobody felt worse than Ike. That's a ball he normally makes the catch on. Made the grab on that one, and there are 2 out. 2-0 pitch is hit in the air to deep center field. McCutchen back, and he will look up and play it off the wall. And Peralta is in with a double. Peralta thinks he hit a home run.
That was awfully close to the yellow line. They'll try to convince the umpires it was close enough to take another look.
The Diamondbacks do not have a challenge left, so he's going to ask for a crew chief review, which are under the auspices of the umpires when they're dealing with home runs or not home runs. So they are going to take a look at it.
I don't think they ever turn this down.
Let's see if this game's tied or not. Got to be above the yellow line. Hard to tell from that look. So it's a crew chief review to see whether or not Peralta has tied this game or if he's going to have a 2-out double. This time the Diamondbacks are very anxious to see the outcome of this one, but again, if the shot that, I don't know how many shots they have of that, but if they don't have video evidence that is clear and convincing, it'll stay a double.
Well, so far, I don't think we've seen a shot that shows the ball hitting the wall.
This was the.
This might. Oh yeah, this will.
This is the best shot I'm told that we have. It looks like it hit under the line. Correct?
Whatever you say, you're 1 for 1.
That angle, it appeared as though it hit under the line.
I certainly didn't see anything that they could possibly change it. That's for sure.
So Peralta with a double. The yellow line, the way the ground rule works here, incidentally, the yellow line is in play. It can hit the yellow line and still not be a home run. It's got to hit over the yellow line completely. So the terminology we're hearing from New York is the ruling on the field stands.
Yeah, it had to. Well, he didn't have a look.
Yeah. Minute 42 on that review. 2 outs, runner at second base. Batter is Trumbo. Strike 1 to him. Foul ball off of Martin.
Sting a little bit right on the shoulder, even though it had a little bit of padding covering it up.
0-1 pitch. Ground ball to short. Mercer gathers it in and fires it onto first base. And the side is retired. Through 3 full. Pirates 1, Diamondbacks nothing. Just on the scoreboard. Pirates have 10 fewer runs. It's 1-0. As Peralta thought he hit a home run, but ruled a double. Video replay showed that it was a double. And the first ball to Ike Davis. Grounded to Aaron Hill. 1 pitch, 1 out for the Pirates in the 4th. Ike's 0 for 2. Let's take a look at our Barrel Automotive League leaders. On base percentage in the National League, the Pirates are the top team. Colorado Rockies next. And the Dodgers, Miami, and St. Louis.
That's a great stat to be leading in.
Well, they lead the league in walks with 378. So
base runners will
that
create runs.
Pitch to Martin. Strike 1. Rush is 0 for 1. Grounded out to the third baseman, Andy Marte, to end the 1st. Now, there are 2 Martes out here tonight, and Starling isn't one of them.
Only one's active.
Alfredo Marte was called up today to replace Paul Goldschmidt on the Diamondbacks roster. Yeah. So you got Andy and Alfredo, and Starling is in AAA in a rehab stint. So he's not even here.
2 Martes. They could have a Marte Parte.
They got together, it would be a Marte Parte.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Marte homered in game number 1 on Thursday. So Goldschmidt, he'll be observing for a while with fracture on the left hand.
I think it would good chance it'd be his season, right?
It could be. Could be. 52 games to go in the regular season after tonight.
They're not playing for anything, obviously. September for the Diamondbacks will be a lot about player evaluation, making plans for next year, getting some call-ups up, getting some looks at them.
I think the trades involving Gerardo Parra to Milwaukee and Martin Prado to the Yankees by the Diamondbacks would be more evidence of your theory. Popped up and foul ground, and Montero makes the catch. 2 down for the Pirates in the 4th. Rush is 0 for 2. Chase Anderson has given up just 2 hits to the Pirates. One of them left the yard. Josh Harrison with a home run. Pedro Alvarez 0 for 1. He flied to Inciarte in center field in the 2nd inning.
Anderson been getting better and better. His changeup's playing much better now than that first game we saw him. He had an ERA of over 4 in May. About 3.5 in June, and it's was 278 in July. Keeps that up, he'll be throwing no hitters in September.
There's the 1-1 to Alvarez. On the ground to Pacheco. Bobbles it. Toss to Anderson covering. Pirates gone quietly in the 4th. Pirates 1, Diamondbacks nothing through 3.5 innings.
Pirates baseball on Root Sports is brought to you by the Chevy Silverado and your Western PA Chevy dealers. And by Day Automotive. We're going to make your day. Let's go Bucks!
1 run on 2 hits for the Pirates. No runs on 3 hits. Pirates fans settling in. That's a nice sight right there. This is how you keep scoring. Everybody should learn how to do it.
Even if you don't, you should know how.
Should know how.
It's like driving a clutch.
It's like Bob. Even if you don't, you should know how. Swing and a miss by Montero. I was proud of you the other day, though. Didn't you keep score through about the 4th inning?
Oh, it was Vance's game.
It was Monday.
Yeah,
that's right. Monday in San Francisco.
They didn't give up a hit till what, about 4th, 5th inning?
Yeah, then you
I was locked in. I couldn't stop. I had to go with it.
Mike grabs it. He'll take it himself, and there's 1 out. Well, lots of folks out here. Maybe they'll send us a photo. It's time to send in your photos. You could be our AT&T fan photo of the game. Show us the unique ways you raise the Jolly Roger and the fun places you watch the games on Root Sports. Show us how you display your Pirate pride. Submit a picture via Twitter using the hashtag BucksFanPhoto for a chance to have it shown during our telecast tonight. Jordan Pacheco, first baseman, up with 1 out. Let's see, what's there to eat here? Maybe some cookies. Did you know that they had the Mrs. Fields cookies? Did you know that Mrs. Fields used to be affiliated with the Oakland A's as a kid? Mercer throws out Pacheco.
No, I didn't know
I
that.
want to say she was a ball girl or something. Back in 1972, 73, Oakland A's.
Well, she makes good cookies.
Bottom of the 4th, 2 outs. Didi Gregorius up. Gregorius robbed by Travis Snyder. Gregorius tried to go the opposite way, and Snyder head first dive toward the infield. Made a terrific catch. Sensational. Strike 1 to Gregorius. It is zombie night. Zombie away. Whoops. Must have stepped in a hole. That's why you see.
The Walking Dead aren't real agile.
No, they're not. You see different people wearing makeup tonight. They gave out a zombie bobblehead tonight. Every time the Pirates flash the Z, I think the Diamondbacks fans think it's for zombie. It's a different kind of outfit, different kind of mask. I like that one, though.
Just a little bit of a Russell Martin look.
Some zombies on their zombie phones.
There they are.
Even zombies text each other. Just like humans now. They don't talk anymore. They just text each other.
There's bobbleheads. Look like little coffins.
Well, the Diamondbacks had a night
Or
here.
I guess that would be vampires.
Well, they had a night here in May. It was a zombie parade they had, which was really well received. People got in zombie outfits and they paraded around the warning track. And it was so well received, the Diamondbacks decided to do another night, which happened to be tonight, and have a zombie bobblehead giveaway. Two. That's the count. The pitch to Gregorius. Ground ball to third. And Pedro throws it away. This is getting extremely troublesome for Pedro and the Pirates. It has been and continues to be troublesome. And you just don't know how it's going to get fixed.
No, it's another one of those. It's a short throw. Look at it. He's on the grass. It's not. Doesn't have to throw it very far. He's got plenty of time. He took a couple crow hops. 1, 2, Three little hops. Maybe it's the hops. Don't take any. Just pick up the ball and throw it.
Gregorius had to hurry back because he made an attempt to go to second, or at least turn that way. And now a flare to right field. Polanco on the run. He's not going to get it. And the tying run goes all the way to third. And so does the throw. So with 2 outs, the error by Alvarez opens the door for the Diamondbacks.
A little bit of late life, got inside, got right on the label. It didn't carry very far. A little bit of, I think, of an ill-advised throw by Polanco. And that one would have got by, then that's a run.
Chase Anderson, the pitcher, struck out looking in the second inning. Now Vance has 1 strikeout. It's a looking strikeout. He had 3 strikeouts in his last outing, all 3 looking. And when you look at the numbers, the National League average of pitchers striking out batters looking, 24.6% of the strikeouts are looking. For Vance Worley, 56.3% of his strikeouts so far this season have come looking. A bouncer towards short. Mercer grabs it, throws on to first, and the Diamondbacks strand the tying run. The error doesn't cost them. 1-0 Pirates. Take a look at our day automotive this day in Pirates history. 1993, the Bucks and Cubs played a wild one at Wrigley. Carlos Garcia homered twice in his first 3 at-bats against Cubs starter Mike Harkey. Then in his 4th at-bat in the 6th, Cub pitcher Bob Scanlon hit him with a pitch, and the bench is clear. The inning before, the Pirates' Blas Minor had thrown a pitch up and in at Mark Grace, which had increased the tension. Scanlon, Minor, and Al Martin were all ejected for their parts in the brawl. The next inning, the Cubs got home runs from Steve Buechele. Sammy Sosa took an 11-8 lead, and they'd go on to win 12-10. And 2 of those folks I saw the other day, Mike Harkey and Blas Minor. He was in the booth the other day here in Arizona. But you were there. You remember.
Kevin Young was there.
Yeah, another one.
If I remember right, we won the altercation, but then the game didn't go our way.
Won the battle.
At that point, you know, in 1993, you were more worried about the altercation than the games. That was the first season of a long drought that these guys were able to break last year. Rock was there.
Pitch to Travis Snyder, misses for a ball.
I can remember Al Martin He was very active during the altercation. That's why he got thrown out.
2-0. We see Bob Scanlon now with the Padres, one of the radio announcers in San Diego. We'll see him this week at PNC Park. 2-1. Travis is 0 for 1. Grounded out to Pacheco at first base in the second inning. Looper right at the shortstop, Gregorius. 1 out. Jordy Mercer hit a rocket right to the second baseman, Aaron Hill, to end the second inning. .254 the average for Jordy. Mentioned Mike Harkey. He, of course, is the pitching coach for Arizona. Might be the biggest pitching coach in the league. Jordy drops one down, and Anderson's throw will be late. A base hit for Mercer. Good idea.
Yeah, they're going to play back on you. Go ahead, take the base hit. Third baseman's out of the picture. He was playing way back, Marte.
Now Vance Worley attempting to bunt here to get Mercer to second base. Takes the ball in the dirt. 1-0.
Vance a good hit and run guy. Counts in a good spot right now. Strike thrower on the mound.
Puts the bunt down back to Anderson. He'll have one play. It's to Aaron Hill covering at first base. Third sacrifice of the season for Vance Worley. And now the Pirates with a runner in scoring position and 2 out for the red hot Josh Harrison. Fans, all tickets purchased through tomorrow. The Pirates will pay all service fees. This deal includes tickets purchased for any of the remaining Pirates home games for the rest of the season. For tickets, visit pirates.com/no-fees. Fees aren't waived. The Pirates are actually paying them for you, so take advantage of it. Again, pirates.com/no-fees. Harrison, since Monday, has a 7-game hitting streak. He's hitting .391, 3 doubles, a triple, 4 home runs, and 5 RBIs. I think Josh made a pretty good case to be player of the week this week. 0-1 from Anderson.
I don't know. I think he needs a couple more home runs. 2 more home runs will do it for him.
Well, this was in the 3rd inning. Pulled this one down the left field line. Put it over the bullpen. Home run number 10.
They've had plenty of practice at that lately.
Oh, another cannonball. I want to see the firefighters jumping in the pool.
They're ready. They're poised. See them? They're getting ready. Yeah.
Getting stretched out, getting warmed up.
Yeah.
It's like the bullpen in the middle innings.
It's like they got a hot tub out there also.
Yeah.
Got everything.
That's where they boil the lobsters.
I hope it's not that warm.
Two games ago, Josh had a hard time with Josh Coleman, the right-hander for Arizona, that comes right over the top. Ended up striking out 4 times before doubling in the 9th. Kept his hitting streak going. And Harrison goes down on strikes. No runs, a hit, 1 left. Halfway through the ball game in Arizona, 1-0 Bucks. Pirates baseball, the winningest bullpen in the majors, continues to rack up wins. Andrew McCutchen hits a pair of home runs off the field with 2 Pirates fans and much more. It's Inside Pirates Baseball, presented by Allegheny Health Network, tonight after postgame on Root Sports. A 1-0 game, bottom of the 5th. Along with Bob Walk and Robbie Ince-Mikowski, I'm Tim Everett. Glad you're watching Pirates baseball with us from Arizona tonight. And Ciarte hits one into left field. Slapped it over there past Pedro and under the glove of Mercer.
He faked the bunt, tried to bring Pedro in real close, and then bring the bat back and try to hit it past him. He accomplished his plan.
Hit for Ciarte.
Watch Pedro. See Pedro come in a few steps, and now the ball just slapped by him into the hole and got his base hit.
That's the 5th hit for the Diamondbacks. Aaron Hill is 1 for 2. Ciarte has 6 stolen bases. He's been caught twice. Batting .251 after his 1 for 2 so far in the game. Chin music.
That's a big miss. You see Russell's glove is down and away. That's about 4 feet. That's why you can't get too upset sometimes when guys get hit. You can have a pitcher that 9 times out of 10 is right around the glove, and then all of a sudden, for whatever reason, one gets away. Ball comes out of the hand a little too early, and you get a big miss.
Ball on a strike to Hill. Nobody out. Breaking ball misses in.
Well, it's a left-hand hitter and it's a foot outside. Nobody even notices. But when it's a right-hand hitter and you're a right-hand pitcher and the ball runs, then that makes a big deal.
2-1 to Hill. And a bouncer to Pedro. Great stop there. He'll have one play. It's to first. The throw is low. Ike's got it. So Alvarez salvages one out of the play. Inciarte moves to second. One out for Arizona. The tying run is in scoring position.
Nice play by Ike. A couple of them today. He's kind of made up for that one he messed up that Pedro threw the first night. That one hitting right on the very edge of the grass.
David Peralta is the hitter. Peralta fouls this one off. He's the one who doubled high off the center field wall in the third inning. 1 for 2.
This guy would have stayed with the pitching. He would have been one heck of a hitting pitcher, wouldn't he?
Yeah. National League would have been perfect for him.
Long ways out this big center field. I like the way they built the ballpark as far as the dimensions, to where it's very friendly if you hit it from the foul pole to straight away, left or right. But then, as a pitcher, if you keep the ball in the middle of the field and you have a fast center fielder, you can run down some of your mistakes.
Base hit to right field. Polanco will come up throwing. They're sending the runner. The throw way up the line. Inciarte scores on a throw that missed badly by Polanco. It's 1-1.
That's probably about as wide of a throw as we've seen this year. Not a bad pitch, down and away, good spot, but it went as a base hit. And Russell Martin went after this and dove for it and still couldn't stop it.
An error is charged on Polanco. And the runner Peralta down to second base.
You can see there he definitely had stopped at first base and was waiting, and then he saw the ball go to the backstop and he took off for second.
Trumbo pops this one up. Shallow right center. Harrison calling for it. Go back to second base. And Peralta getting back. 2 men out. We've seen Polanco make some really good throws. And that one out of character for him.
He made an ill-advised throw earlier in the game to third base. There was no reason to throw it. Pitcher coming up. 2 outs, and it wasn't going to be a close play. There was nobody to back up the throw. And then, of course, this last throw, raining outside, huh?
Yeah, this is live outside. It's pouring out. Nice in here, though. Miguel Montero takes down a knee. For 2 tonight for Montero. Grounded to short in the first and grounded out to Ike Davis at first in the fourth. 1 ball, 1 strike to Montero. Montero's been on base safely in 15 of his last 17 games. There's an injury replacement for Yadier Molina, the National League All-Star team. It's a little wet out there.
It's hot water. Rain's hot water in Arizona.
Does it? 98 degrees at game time. It's cool.
It cooled off from that first day. It was up around 109, 110.
Ground ball to short. Mercer gets a good hop. Throws out Montero. 1 run, 2 hits, 1 error. And a man left. Go to the 6th, all even at 1.
I was on that. Yeah, I mean, I got to ask Kutch. He's been to a couple of these.
Here, Tony Watson talk more on All-Star Fashion with Josh Harrison and Andrew McCutcheon as we take you behind the scenes of the Buccos All-Star trip to Minneapolis. Check out the Pirates' red carpet arrival. See the guys mic'd up for batting practice and much more. It's Inside Pirates Baseball Twin City Trio tomorrow at 3 on Root Sports. Splashing around in the outfield.
That looked like a cannonball.
Yep. Group from Pittsburgh out there. 1-1. These guys, well, it's zombie night, but I don't know. But Desert Coyote night. Look at that, some water coming into Chase Field.
The grass will probably like it.
Oh, it sprung a leak. Oh, we've seen that in Milwaukee.
Not that.
A couple of times.
We saw a waterfall in Milwaukee, not drops.
And here is Gregory Polanco. Pirates trying to get the lead back. Now the Diamondbacks have tied it. What's he got? He's got a Pirate Lego guy. Back and it's 0-2. Gregory is 0 for 2 tonight. And 250. Right-hander Chase Anderson. Not a bad start for him so far. Pitching into the 6th. Last 3 starts, he's 1-0. Last time out versus the Reds, he went 7 innings, gave up just a run. Popped up center field. And Sarate records the out. 1 out in the Pirates' 6th inning. Polanco's 0 for 3. Kutch is 0 for 1. He walked in the 1st inning, grounded out to 2nd in the 3rd. Breaking ball in for a strike.
That was a good way to start any kind of a bat. If you can get strike 1 with a breaking pitch.
0-2. Goldschmidt, all he can do is watch. There's 2nd in the MVP voting in McCutcheon last year. And a base hit for Kutch. 1 out single. McCutcheon's been aboard twice now tonight.
Look where the target is. And look where the pitch was. Result, base hit.
Look at that hot dog, Bob. That thing cost $25.
Is that a hot dog or a corn dog?
It's an everything dog.
I think that's a corn dog. I love corn dogs.
It's got. I was reading about it today. I can't remember the number of ingredients, but it's got just about everything in it. Well, no surprise, Robbie's got the info on that hot dog.
I do. It's an 18-inch corn dog stuffed with cheddar cheese, bacon, and jalapenos. That's what comes in it. And they offer a $10 hot dog and a $7 hot dog for a smaller option, but that's more for a family. $25. Everybody could pretty much get almost a full hot dog, or at least close enough to it. Like the boomstick, in Texas they have that in a boomstick. It's a similar deal to what they have down there. They just adopted it here in Chase Field.
Nothing like a nice corn dog. That one looked really good. I liked what they put in it. And I think, as you can see, I could probably put away the the family size.
You think you can handle the $25 version?
That looked like a nice dog there. A little spicy.
Yeah. That's what I would say. I'd be afraid of it. I'd say nice dog, nice dog. Very like going to left field. Trumbo makes the catch. Kutch heads back to first. 2 men out. Let's take a look now at our AT&T fan photo. Keep the submissions coming. Hashtag Bucks fan photo. Jeff Miller. They're in Punta Cana, Mexico, raising the Jolly Roger. Thanks for that photo.
Well, that looks like a gorgeous beach. Look at that water in the back.
Dominican Republic, not Mexico. Beg your pardon. So Martin takes ball 1. Oh for 2 tonight for Russ. Time is called. Russ got the time pretty late. Culper granted him timeout. Pet peeve of yours, I know, Bob. One 1-0 coming to Martin. Time was called again before the throw to first base, and the timeout called by the catcher Montero that time.
Timeout. That didn't work. I thought maybe I could call timeout. Everyone else can.
Oh, the hitter got one. The catcher got one. The color guy should get one.
Yeah.
It's only when you're bad you get a timeout. Balls and a strike. Kutch takes off here. Trying to get himself in scoring position with 2 outs.
I'll say no. I think if he was going to run, he would have earlier in the count. And if it's a strike right now, Martin's not going to take it. You wouldn't think, anyway. Yeah, he did take it. Could have been running. I didn't think Martin would take fastball for a strike.
He's a good fastball hitter. Goes to the right side. Now runners at first and second.
Pedro in position for the second night in a row to get an important base hit.
2 hits in the inning.
And everybody shifted over on the left side. Nobody played the right side of the infield, so it all easily rolled through.
Looks like a fun area. Well, meeting on the mound as the pitching coach Mike Harkey comes out. Talk about how to pitch to Pedro Alvarez. What do you suppose he's telling him here about this at bat?
Wasn't that great changeup of yours, kid? You got 94 pitches. You aren't going to be out there much longer anyway, so make the end of this game a good one. He's clean up next inning, comes up 4th, so This is probably going to be it for him.
Cincinnati and Miami even had a run apiece in the ninth. How about this ball game? 9-7 in the 8th inning. St. Louis and Milwaukee. That's been a slugfest at Busch Stadium. Two outs, 2 on for Pedro. Ball 1. Alvarez 0 for 2 tonight. Flied out to center field, grounded out to first. Two balls, no strikes. Pedro has started just 3 of the last 10 games.
And normally you like to get in these hitters' counts, but being ahead 2-0, this is a perfect chance for that changeup. There it is, 80 mile an hour, right down the middle. When you get hitters in fastball counts and you have a great changeup, you're actually in control of things. Because they're going to be aggressive, trying to drive the ball, and that's what you want the hitter to try and do if you're going to throw changeups. With that fastball up and in, a borderline strike. He elevated it well above the belt, put it on the inside corner. Good location of that pitch.
Two on, 2 out. 2-2 pitch. Strike 3. Pirates lead 2.
Pirate was honored recently during Hall of Fame weekend as Joe Garagiola Sr. spent 9 years as a catcher in the big leagues and parts of 3 of them in a Pirates uniform. Then he spent more than 50 years as a broadcaster. Last weekend he was presented with the Buck O'Neil Lifetime Achievement Award during the Hall of Fame weekend. He won the Ford Frick Award in 1991 for his work in broadcasting as well. Garagiola is one of the great characters of the game and spearheaded the National Spit Tobacco Education Program, an initiative aimed at ending the use of smokeless tobacco. He came to the Pirates in June of '51, Tim and Bob, in a trade with the Cardinals, and played for the Pirates until 1953. As you get a look at some of the career achievements, he was traded with Ralph Kiner to the Cubs in '53, but the best season of his playing career came as a member of the Bucks in 1952 as Jordy Mercer gets the routine ground out. So the Buck O'Neil Award, presented once every 3 years to an individual whose extraordinary efforts enhance baseball's positive impact on society. So a great honor for a former Pirate and great gentleman of the game, guys.
Yeah, a story here too, Robbie, is Pedro Alvarez has been lifted from the game. Brent Morel, and a straight change has replaced him. Pedro has made 3 bad throws to first, one of them an error, and is 0 for 3, striking out with 2 men on in the 6th. So Clint Hurdle taking Alvarez out.
But I think, this has just been a pattern really for a while now of Pedro coming out late in the game for defense. It's something they've been doing, and the way the throws have been today, certainly understand it.
Didi Gregorius batting with 1 out, the 0-1. Ball 1 strike. Nice pitch by Vance. Five pitches for Worley.
And after his 9 innings of work in his last start, they I would think would be a little on the conservative side with the number of pitches that he's throwing. And in a tie ball game, this could be his last inning of work because his spot's going to come up in the top of the 7th.
Off of Worley. Martin's throw not in time. Well, that got Vance squarely.
Yeah, it did. Went straight back toward home plate. You know, it could square it up on him.
Todd Tomczyk, the trainer, is going to come out and check on him.
And I think while they're doing that, Clint's going to go out to first base and inquire about the call at first.
Hip.
Yeah, he'll be all right. Thanks.
So now Clint will go check on the well-being of his starting pitcher. This won't count as a visit. Take a look at the play at first right now. See how close it was. Allegheny Health Network Supermo slowing it down for us. But the Warriors get the right foot on the bag before I caught the ball. And now Jared Hughes starting to warm up. Andy Marte. 1 for 2. Hits this one in the air to right field. Polanco under it. 2 out. Chase Anderson out of the ball game. Roger Kieschnick will come up to pinch hit. That was a key point last night when Kieschnick came in to pinch hit for Vidal Nuno. Nuno had stymied the Pirates for 6 innings, and then the spot came up. Kieschnick hit for him, and the Pirates got to the bullpen late.
Anderson did a nice job. He around the strike zone pretty much all night long, and just that changeup that he is known for really kept the hitters off balance, and that's what it's all about. Just take the sting out of the bat, destroy the hitter's timing.
Strike to Kieschnick. Kieschnick was called up at the beginning of this series on Thursday. He and Andy Marte called up the same day. That was the day that Martin Prado and Gerardo Parra were sent away via trade, so had 2 spots to fill. The return the Diamondbacks got were all minor league prospects, so they went to the respective teams they were assigned to. There were 2 spots left on the 25-man roster, so Kieschnick called up for the 3rd time this year.
off-speed pitch right there. Breaking ball in for a strike, and it's 2-2.
Just far enough.
2 outs. Gregorius at first base. Strike 3 call.
Second strikeout of the night for Vance Worley. 1-1 heading to the 7th.
Pirates Baseball on Root Sports is brought to you by Barrel Automotive. We're driven to be better. And by Levin Mattress, located in all Levin furniture showrooms and freestanding stores. Let's go Bucks!
1-1 as we start the top of the 7th inning here at Chase Field with Bob Walker and Tim Maverick. Glad you're watching Bucks baseball with us. Vance Worley, who was struck on the hip by a Didi Gregorius line drive.
Did you see that? A little slap on the hip that got his attention.
Yes.
Everybody taking a shot at him. See that?
Pirates love to get him a run right now, get him to be the pitcher record to the good. But he's going to be all done. His spot in the order comes up 3rd.
Defense hit for another excellent start by Worley.
Rick Sofield, first base coach. Funny guy.
Just 1 run in 6 innings. Definitely quality.
Oliver Perez, the veteran left-hander. Homer Bucko. See what he has in store.
The other night he was a little off, I thought, with the control. I mean, he can be a little everywhere. I think you have to make sure that he's throwing the ball over the plate before you give it a swing.
Travis Snyder has bounced out to first and popped out to short. Nothing in 2 to Travis.
Oliver will sometimes be quick to the plate. Sometimes he'll give you that big turn and kind of whirl his arms around. Anything to try and distract the hitter a little. There's the turn and I don't know what would you call that, an arm pump, or it's just a lot of movement.
Snyder down on strikes. Perez picks up the strikeout to start the 7th.
There's the spin. He pumps the arms around a little bit. There's times he won't do that. Take a little shorter leg kick. Pretty much just go straight to the plate. That little in-between action there. Have a decent leg kick, but didn't do all the other stuff.
Is that just to throw the hitters off? I talked to John about this the other day. He said that it doesn't matter if you're a hitter. You still have to pick up the release point, but it's happening right in front of you. You can still see it.
Yeah, it's a distraction thing. So trying to get you to look at something else besides that release point. Now, ideally, as a hitter, you want to totally ignore all that stuff. It is meaningless.
1 strike pitch. And Jordy hits it up in the air to center field. Ender Inciarte underneath it. 2 out. Gabby Sanchez will pinch hit for Vance Worley. Worley goes 6 innings, 7 hits, 1 earned run, 1 walk, 2 strikeouts through 83 pitches tonight. 54 of the 83 for strikes. So again, another high percentage of strikes thrown by Worley. Strike 1 to Gabby. 227 for Sanchez. 5 homers and 18 knocked in. Perez with 2 quick outs, striking out Snyder and getting Mercer to fly to center. Gabby fouls this one off, and he's behind 0-2. Jared Hughes ready in the Pirates' pen. Francisco Liriano over there on the left. He'll go tomorrow in the finale opposite Trevor Cahill. And the pitch inside, and it's 1-2. Perez pitched in game 1, went 2/3 of an inning. Gave up a hit and walked a man, but didn't give up a run. Gabby releases that one foul. One ball, 2 strikes, and 2 men out. Count is even, 2-2. Josh Harrison in the on-deck circle, hoping for a chance this inning. Inside, check the swing. No, he didn't, says first base umpire Ed Hickox, who rings up the strikeout. Perez retires the side in order, striking out 2. Gabby tried to hold it, and the appeal not in his favor. Stretch time in Arizona.
Pittsburgh Pirates and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Follow every Pirates game with MLB.com @bat on your favorite mobile phone or tablet. Get live look-ins, instant replays, scores, stats, audio, free MLB.tv, game of the day, and more. Download on the App Store or visit Pirates.com today. Jared Hughes takes over for the Pirates. He'll face the top of the order. Ender Inciarte, Aaron Hill, and David Peralta in a 1-1 game, bottom of the 7th. Inciarte showing bunt. Did that before and slapped a hit through the left side.
Jared's been moving up that totem pole this year. Throwing later and later in ball games, much more important situations. Not doing a lot of work like this in the 7th inning since the Grilli trade. Been very successful at it. The calling card this year for him, though, has been getting out of jams. He has come in so many times in the middle of innings. Saved a lot of starters, runners from scoring.
And he starts off Inciarte 3-0.
You want to put all this speed on base to start the inning. You can fly.
Four-pitch walk. And the go-ahead runs aboard with nobody out. If you want to be an optimist, you can say that Jared has induced a lot of double play balls this year. A sinker of his results in a lot of ground balls. Hill is 1 for 3. Cincinnati back. Jared pitched against the Giants on Wednesday, retired 3 batters. He's been charged with just 1 earned run in his last 13 and a third innings pitch. Talking about double plays, he came in Sunday against Colorado. Bases were loaded. 1 out, got an inning-ending double play. Got out of that jam.
Jared's trying to do his best right now to make sure that the double play remains a possibility. And holding Inciarte on. That's 6 steals. 6 out of 8.
Just needs a word with Jared, who hasn't thrown a strike yet.
Well, he might be going to go out there to tell him is just as far as Inciarte is concerned, just get him flat-footed. I'll take care of it if he runs. But make sure you stop, wait, get him flat-footed, and then when you come home, focus on your pitch. You got to throw strikes. You can't let your attention be divided between that base runner and your job at home plate. Job at home plate is the most important.
Got away just a little, but not enough.
He seems to be missing in that same spot, pitch after pitch. Most of the pitches he threw to Inciarte down there also in that same area.
And got one there. Two and 1 to Aaron Hill. First base, and Inciarte is back. Remember, Aaron Hill made some history 2 seasons ago when he hit for the cycle not once but twice. 4th player in Major League history to do that. 2nd one in the modern era. There goes the runner. Swung on and fouled into the Diamondbacks dugout. Back to first base goes Inciarte. Now 2 balls, 2 strikes on Hill.
2-1, good hit and run count. Pretty sure you're going to get a strike, so your hitter will be able to get something put in play, get the bat to it. They pulled it foul. Oh my! Looked good. Looked like a maybe anyway.
Full count, 3-2. We'll see if they start the runner now.
The ball just ran in a little too far. That's the time where that movement hurt you. Took it out of the strike zone.
Inciarte goes, swung on, and that's to left field on a base hit. Inciarte going to third. Snyder's throw, not in time. The Diamondbacks with the go-ahead run at third base and nobody out. And Inciarte shaken up after going back into third base hard.
Did he roll his ankle?
Well, those Hollywood bases do not move, and if you put your foot back into them hard, you can hurt yourself. Looks like he might have jammed his foot in there on the slide.
Well, he definitely went in nice and hard, but you don't see anything.
He immediately grabbed the top of his foot. His ankle, maybe. Check him when he comes around second. Maybe he slips here. He hits the bag there.
He was on the edge of being out of control. Like Franz Palmer went around second.
No, Franz wasn't a baseball player, folks.
He was always on the edge of being out of control.
He was a skier, Olympic skier. The runners at the corners, infield in, nobody out. Peralta hits one wide of first base. Two for three tonight for Peralta, single double and an RBI. Double came in the third inning, and there was a little question as to whether or not it was a home run. Had to be reviewed, and the call stood. Bouncer to Davis. Looks the runner back at third base. He'll tag Peralta. So Inciarte couldn't go anywhere. Now second and third and one out.
What would have happened if I just would have right about now, so it's second. I guess you don't want to take a chance there. Once he had him stopped, might have been able to go to second base, but you're not going to get a double play anyway. But at least you would keep it in order for this pitch.
Trumbo swing and a miss. Two men in scoring position, one out. Mark Trumbo 0 for 2 with a walk tonight. Jared's 0-1 delivery. again going down and in, and again swinging and missing is Trumbo.
Swung at 2 pitches that really haven't been close.
I'm guessing this pitch won't be that close either.
I'm guessing they forgot to tell him that he throws a real hard sinker down and in. He's acted shocked by the first 2.
0-2 to Trumbo. They tried to go back in there. It's fouled off.
If that was the best pitch he's thrown, at least that was high enough you could make contact with it. Jared doesn't strike out a whole lot of folks, but this would be a nice one to get.
Ross finds it, and Sarate scrambles back to the base. Ball, 2 strikes. Infield in for the Pirates, and Sarate at third base, and Aaron Hill is at second. Hughes 1-2. Curveball, got him, called, strike 3. Big strikeout for Jarrett.
Now, like I said, he doesn't strike out too many guys, but he's just throwing that sinker after sinker after sinker, and then he starts this one off inside, and it comes over the inside half. Really not a very good pitch. Most of the time, if this ball is hit, you would have described it as a hanging breaking ball. But that time, the hanging breaking ball might have got one of the biggest outs of the game.
And now with 2 outs, they will walk Miguel Montero to load the bases and get to Jordan Pacheco. And Hurdle electing to put Montero on. Montero is 0 for 3 tonight. Grounded out 3 times. An all-star catcher. Already, well, it looked like he was taking his elbow pad off. There's the 4th wide one. And now the bases are loaded. Arizona with the sacks full and 2 outs. Now it's Hughes against Pacheco. Pacheco 1 for 3 tonight. That's the go-ahead run. Aaron Hill at second. Montero at first.
Well, with that second out, the infielders can move back to where they have their maximum range. Hopefully another ground ball, and this inning's over.
Inside ball 1. One for 2 with the bases loaded this season. 5 for 17 in his career. Two and 0. Pacheco had spent the last 3+ years with the Colorado Rockies. First year with the Diamondbacks. 2-0 pitch. There's a strike. Two and 1 to Pacheco. He can also catch. He will catch occasionally, but has played third base and first base in this series.
Well, One ball is short. He tried.
2 balls, 2 strikes.
Opened up on that nicely, just didn't make the contact.
He is prepared.
It's Jolly Roger.
2-2. Foul ball.
I think if Jared gets out of this inning, we should see some cannonballs.
Jared's 2-2 pitch to Jordan Pacheco. Strike 3, got him. And the Diamondbacks leave the bases loaded. The Pirates coming to bat in the 8th when we return. Also see the Central Division standings right now. The Cardinals have beaten the Brewers. If the Pirates can win this one tonight, they'll trim another half game off that and get to within a game and a half of Milwaukee. Jordan Pacheco, the first baseman, striking out with the bases loaded. And the go-ahead run at third base. 1-1 ball game as we start the 8th inning. Pirates will have the top of the order up. And Jared Hughes with 2 walks, 1 intentional. He walked the leadoff man in Sayarte. He got the third after the hit by Hill, and then Jared just pitched out of it.
That's what he's been doing all year. Usually the messes are somebody else's making that he comes and cleans up. But that time he had to clean up his own mess.
And Brad Ziegler, he is a tough customer. Sidewinding right-hander.
Yeah, he really makes it tough hitters to try and pick up that release point. And because the ball is released down there, it has a much different spin than normal. And it's a lot of movement.
One ball and 1 strike. And bouncer in the hole at short. Gregorius throws it offline. And Harrison's got to stay at first base. That'll be a base hit for Harrison. Would have beaten the throw, and it was a long way to go for Gregorius. So Harrison with 3 hits
The Diamondbacks a little fortunate on this one that. Oh, look at that! Right next to the opening to the dugout. They could have slipped in there. Jay Hay would be at second.
Go ahead run at first base. Gregory Polanco up. Polanco is 0 for 3. Go to first. Jay Hay dives back. Had a good sized lead.
Was there a little flinch towards second?
Appeared like there was.
Watch. Yes, there was. He may have been running on that pitch if there had been a pitch.
Another throw. Ziegler timing his throw over to try to catch Josh off balance. Good time for Gregory right now. Pitch out. So Polanco with a free ball. Arizona convinced Harrison was doing something.
We saw that same thing we did. Saw the flinch towards second base. Thought it was going to be first pitch stealing or first pitch hit and run.
Alan Trammell, the bench coach, calling the shots. Kirk Gibson ejected in the second inning. There goes Harrison. Polanco fouls it off.
Well, the way Polanco swung at a pitch that really was down in a way, I got to believe that was a hit and run. If that's a straight steal, he would have taken this one. Watch the location of this pitch.
Two balls and one strike. Well, with that delivery, is that an easier delivery to run on, do you think? Or timing wise, is it about the same? Is there more conventional pitch?
Well, I'm going to have to get the watch out here and give you an answer.
See how much time of the plate is. First.
Good. I need the extra time. Okay, now I got it.
Now you got the. You know, there's an app for that.
It took me a while. Yeah, I couldn't find the app. I have so many apps. I had to thumb through them.
You used to travel with an actual watch. You don't anymore, do you?
No, I have slimmed down. It's amazing what these machines do for you.
2-1. There goes Harrison, and Polanco shoots it just foul down the third base side.
It might have been a little late with my thumb, but I actually had it pretty quick there. 1.2 to the plate, so not bad. But I think I was a smidgen late. Gypsies had 1-2.
They had 1-2 also.
1-2's quick.
Two to Polanco. Outside, full count.
I got nothing that time. He had me leading first.
Cutch waiting in the on deck circle. Harrison probably take off with his 3-2 pitch.
See if I can make my thumb work this time. I'm actually better with an old stopwatch. Sorry.
There goes Josh, and Polanco fouls it off. Can you get that time?
Nothing. It's still running. I hit it. It didn't stop.
Operator error.
It's like, see right there, you go start, and then I hit it again. I kept going.
But the time it takes you to go like that.
Yeah, but if I get it closer, that it might go. That's why I need the buttons on top. I don't like these new modern things. In fact,
change is such a bad thing.
I'm putting that down. I'm not messing with that anymore.
Nobody out. 3 balls, 2 strikes. There goes Harrison, and Polanco bounces it right back to Ziegler. Nobody home at second base. He'll go to first. Polanco is out. So by starting Jay Hay, the Pirates stay out of the double play, get the go-ahead run in scoring position, and Polanco's at first.
Catcher's interference.
Ah. Well, there's something you don't see every day. Catcher's interference on Miguel Montero. So the bat struck the glove of Montero. And no outs remain, and 2 men on now for the Pirates. Oh, yeah.
You see Polanco looking back like making sure, hey, you did see that, right? You'd probably hear it more than anything else.
I'd see that once or twice a year.
Who was real good at that was Andy Van Slyke.
There's a bouncer to the left side. It is off the glove of Marte. Around third and scoring is Harrison, and the Pirates have the lead 2-1.
Cannonballs in the pool.
There's a tidal wave alert in the pool.
Yeah, there they go.
Yes, yes, yes. And let's go Bucks.
Yes, yes, yes.
So a base hit from McCutchen and a run batted in. And the Pirates in front.
I think that was so close to being a horrible play for the Pirates. I think they would have definitely got an easy out at second base. Marte could have made that play. And Jay do a little kind of a little high step type skip coming across the plate.
Well, he scored a touchdown.
Yeah. The last 5 yards there is a little different.
Mike Davis fouls this one off. 2 hits for McCutchen tonight. It's his 66th run batted in. 4th in the league. Paul Goldschmidt next with 69, and Marte not able to make the play. Trying to flag down that ball in the hole and went off his glove. 1-1 to Ike. So good opportunity now for the Pirates. A great opportunity now. Nobody out and 2 on. Davis 0 for 3 in the game, and by the time Ike gets out of this little funk he's in. He was 0 for his last 10. 2-1. So Ziegler was normally Mr. Reliable out of the bullpen for Arizona. Gives up the go-ahead run tonight. Pirates scored 3 runs in the 8th last night. We've got 1 so far tonight. Davis a chopper toward first. Pacheco will step on the bag, and that basically serves as a sacrifice bunt.
If you're not going to get a hit, that's the next best thing. With nobody out, just move both runners now into scoring position.
9 earned runs allowed in the last 4 1/3 innings for the Diamondbacks bullpen.
Not good.
Their bullpen since the All-Star break was doing a good job until last night. Mike Harkey will come out for a visit. Diamondbacks pitching coach.
Probably short meeting. Say much.
Bannister and Dave Joust discussing with Clint Hurdle. Martin 1 for 3. Last time up in the 6th, he had a base hit. Polanco's at third base. McCutchen leading off of second. Infield comes in. Ball 1 to Russ. Martin's hit safely in 9 of his last 10 games. He's hit in 3 straight, but he has struggled against Ziegler in his career. 0 for 6.
Yeah, but there's just 5 strikeouts.
So you're finding the good thing. He didn't strike out once.
The good thing is he is due for a base hit. Everything always averages out in baseball. So that's actually on the all-time optimist. That's actually a good stat. You're not going to go 0 for 7 with 6 strikeouts. It's not going to happen.
2-0 pitch. Breaking ball for a strike. 2-1. Well, I hope you're right.
Oh, definitely right.
I would say you're right 6 out of 7 times. Which is pretty good.
I think the wife would agree with that.
Maybe 0 out of 7 times.
No, he didn't swing. Thank you.
Bob's right again.
I said that a little loud, maybe. I was trying to influence. No, he didn't go.
Just able to hold on.
Okay, 3-1. Get a hold one here. Oh, Russ.
The balls and a strike still. That's the count.
I did not want to see 2 strikes.
Three and 2.
Russell, think back through the middle.
Two on, 1 out. Martin at the plate. Pirates have taken a 2-1 lead this inning.
Hit it right back through that path.
Payoff pitch. A high chopper. Polanco coming to the plate. He's going to score. And safe at first. Here comes McCutchen. He scores. 2 runs come in. 4-1 Pittsburgh.
Well, I guess he didn't strike out, did he? Scored 2 runs. How about that aggressive base running by Kutch? They're stunned down in the pool. They don't know whether to jump or not. As soon as Kutch saw that ball hit the ground, he took off, and nothing for Pacheco to do but put it in his pocket.
McCutchen alertly scoring. Brent Morel's first plate appearance. He swings and hits a chopper down toward third. That'll go foul.
Kutch always taking advantage of that speed. Wow, I didn't notice that. The Gypsies pointed it out. Did you see where Martin was going down the line? Why didn't they argue about that? He was way in foul territory when he interfered with the throw. They didn't say a word about it. Pacheco didn't say a word about it.
1 RBI for Martin. The way that'll be scored will be a single. McCutchen will score on a throwing error by Ziegler.
Look where Martin's running, and the ball hits him right in the back. He was on the grass. Now, I'm not saying that they would have changed it, but I am really surprised that nobody said anything about it.
Morel hammers this one and going back after it. Inciarte, that ball good for extra bases. Martin coming around third. He's going to score standing up, and Brent Morel makes it 5-1.
He hit it to the big part of the yard. There's the cannonballs.
Four runs in the 8th inning for the Pirates. That one right in the wheelhouse.
4-13. That was off the little patio up there. That was a long blast. Look where they hit. Maybe a foot from being a home run to the deepest part of the ballpark, right up above the 413 mark.
Morel's second hit as a Pirate and his first double. His first run batted in. Having fun at the pool in Arizona. 5-1 Bucks. 5-1 Pirates. Bucks with 4 on the board. 1 out. Top of the 8th inning. Just a reminder, as you enjoy a cold one, to look forward to Miller time later in tonight's game. Brought to you by Miller Lite. I'm going to raise one up to Brent Morel right there. His first RBI as a Bucko. And
he pounded it.
Almost hit it out of here.
That was a reminiscent of that shot that McCutchen hit last night off the batter's eye.
Matt Stites takes over for Ziegler.
15 innings, 3 home runs.
Travis Snyder, the batter. And Travis takes a strike. Over the last 4 1/3 innings that the Diamondbacks bullpen has worked, they have given up 12 runs.
And it looks like the Bucko pen going to hopefully pick up another win. They have done a phenomenal job this year of getting those W's. The starters don't have a whole lot of them. They lead the league bullpen victories. And a 4-run down payment on this one. Just 2 innings left, 6 more outs to get.
0-2 pitch to Travis. Inside.
Still just 1 out. Can add to that lead, get a little more insurance. There's the 4 spot in the 8th. Still hitting.
One and 2 to Snyder. Morel off second base. Stites ready to deliver. Travis fouls it back. Tony Watson
kind of
ready to go.
Standing there. He'll probably throw a couple more just before it's time to go out. What a catalyst Jay Hay has become.
He has been terrific. 3 hits tonight. He's a triple away from the cycle tonight. Single double home run. Two balls, 2 strikes. That's outside. Clarification on the scoring on the ball hit by Russell Martin. They're calling that a straight error right now. No hit and an error. 1 RBI would be allowed. And the error on the pitcher, Ziegler. I'm told they're reviewing that or might review that and either uphold it or maybe give Russ a hit.
What was that against? So I can change it on the card.
Who are you kidding? Ground ball to short. Gregorius will throw on to first to get Snyder down to third base. Morel. You stopped keeping score at the top of the first.
I don't keep score very often on television. You got an iPad with a score on it. Got a scoreboard with a score on it. You got a scorecard right here, and we got gypsies keeping score downstairs. Got scores everywhere. I would just add to the clutter.
All you have to do is ask, right? If you want to know anything. That's very green of you to not waste paper.
Exactly.
Very smart.
Someday, everybody will just go with the electronics and
do it on your phone.
Yeah, just keep score on the. Well, I think what do you call it? A tablet, I guess, is what you're supposed to call them. I think that's the perfect way to do it.
1-1 to Jordy. Fans happy with the outcome right now. Hoping it stays this way.
I can hear the guys at the pool right now. That's them in the background shouting. They are having a great time out there. They're loving the scoreboard too. Look at them.
Where can Pirates fans go on the road and have a pool party? Watch their team win.
Right here, Phoenix, Arizona.
Two and one to Mercer. Jordy, that's a hard shot. Dropped for a moment by Gregorius. He recovers and throws him out. 4 runs across for the Bucks in the 8th. A 5-1 lead. Phoenix, Arizona, with Bob Walk and Robbie Inch-Mikowski. I'm Tim Neverett. 5 runs on 8 hits for the Bucks. Diamondbacks a run on 8 hits. Josh Harrison 3 for 4. Needs a triple for the cycle. A 4-run 8th inning. More runs in the late innings for the Pirates. Peralta has a double and a single, and Diamondbacks manager Kurt Gibson was ejected after the 2nd inning. Wasn't happy with a call following a challenge. Now Tony Watson will take over. He'll pitch to Didi Gregorius, facing the bottom part of the Diamondbacks order. A defensive change also. Michael Martinez has come into the ball game to play left field. And Martinez will go into the 9 spot and lead off in the 9th inning. Tony Watson will go into Travis Snyder's spot, 7th, to complete the double switch. One-0 pitch. Looped right at Mercer. 1 out. Friends, join the Pirates and Pirates Charities as we stand up to cancer at PNC Park this Friday as the Bucks host the Padres at 7:05. Ticket packages are $50. $10 goes toward the fight to end cancer. Plus, receive a stand up to cancer cap, cheer card, and more. For more information, go to pirates.com/SU2C. Cancer claimed a great Major League broadcaster this weekend. Former Braves broadcaster Pete Van Weer, who'd been there more than 30 years. He hadn't broadcast in a few years, but
great man, great gentleman. That was well respected, and just any broadcaster there is around the league.
One ball and 1 strike to Andy Marte. Reach for that one. That's strike 2. Back in the days, Bob, when TV wasn't as set up the way it is now, I guess, for Major League Baseball, and cable.
Braves were America's team.
They were everywhere. And,
Pete was big.
Pete Van Wieren, Skip Carey. Center field to McCutchen. He broke back, now comes in. Can of corn for him, and there's 2 men out.
Yeah, that era really kind of put the Braves on the map. Got Atlanta called.
And Andy Marte is out. Now Alfredo Marte just called up today to take the spot of Paul Goldschmidt on the 25-man roster. He'll get a chance to hit 16 games this year, hitting .258. Strike call. Started in left field for the World Team in the Futures game in 2012 in Kansas City. Same year in Double-A in the Southern League with Mobile, was the MVP of the league. 3rd time he has been called up from Triple-A Reno. Finds himself behind in the count. Tony Watson 0-2. Randall Delgado pitched in the ball game last night, warming up. 0-2 pitch to Alfredo Marte. And Tony Watson says good morning, good afternoon, good night. Strikes him out on 3 pitches. We're headed to the 9th. 5-1 Pirates. Allegheny Health Network Supermo providing some of the pictures that tell the story tonight. 5-1 Pirates again scoring a bunch late. We'll start the top of the 9th inning. Randall Delgado is the new pitcher for Arizona.
Delgado pretty decent numbers when you look past the ERA. Opponent batting average just .226, not giving up a whole lot of hits.
Michael Martinez leading off, grounds it to second base, 1 out. Quick out. Martinez, who entered last inning as part of a double switch, will head back to the dugout, take a seat.
ERA is always kind of a tough thing to look at with relievers because they just don't get the innings. Get a couple of bad outings, and it really could mess that up for an entire season. I think when you look at the stats of relievers, you really have to look at other things, how many hits they're giving up, and strikeout walk ratios, things like that.
How about a triple? Single, double, home run for Jay Hay.
Good ballpark for a triple, but center field's really fast. Would have to I think be the left center because he's really shading him to right center.
Well, he had a triple in the 8th inning last night. One ball, one strike.
That ball came off the very top of the wall, and it looked like it hit NCRT and then bounced way off to the right on the rebound. He was able to get to third.
There we go. Yes, that's a strike. 1-2.
Came off top of the fence out by the swimming pool.
And the 1-2. 2-2. Mark Melanson warming up. Not a safe situation. But needs the work. That's just fouled down third. Have a day, Jay Hay. 3 hits. Another multi-hit game. His 31st multi-hit game of the season. Started it off with a double in the first. And this one, a little hop skip after he hit it. Home run number 10. And a base hit there. Gregorius not going to make that play. And a strikeout mixed into the 5th, so 3 for 4. Stays alive. Count still 2-2 to Harrison. Polanco in the leadoff spot for a while, Bob. You like Harrison here?
Yeah, I like anybody that gets on base.
I mean, what's not to like?
Yeah. Well, he's hitting home runs, and might like him in the cleanup spot. As long as he gets somebody getting on in front of him.
He has homered 5 times, or he's homered in 5 of his last 7 games. So half of his home runs this year have come in the last week. McCutchen would like to have some of what Jay Hayes having.
I'd love to see him hit one in the gap and just see how close he can get to third.
Catch 2 for 3 tonight, but the home runs haven't been there lately.
Left field gap the biggest. That's where I think the triple is located if you can get it out there.
Ball 4.
Throw him a strike.
So a mixed bag for Harrison. He has reached base 4 times. And Gregory reached on catcher's interference in the 8th inning. So he's 0 for 3. Scored a run. Average just a tick under 250 now. 1 out and 1 on for the Pirates. Randall Delgado facing Gregory Polanco.
If you can get this offense to start hitting on most cylinders, it could really be something else. Get Polanco clicking again like he was when he first got called up.
Pirates win this ball game. They'll be a game and a half behind Milwaukee for the division lead.
Marte should be getting better soon.
Began his rehab stint in Indianapolis tonight. That's up and out. And it's 3-0 to Gregory Polanco. Well, somebody's going to win that series between the Cardinals and Brewers. They're even at a game apiece, so tomorrow will determine who wins that series. And if it's the Cardinals and the Pirates would win, they'll shave another game off and take it to a half game for the day off on Monday. Pirates will begin a homestand starting Tuesday night against the Miami Marlins. The Padres coming in. Polanco drives it into left center field. Harrison rounding second. He'll go to third. Polanco heading to second base. He slides and he is safe with a leg double.
Definitely just one of those good hustling doubles, and he really ate up the territory in between first and second when he thought he had a shot at it. Long legs of his. Took a pitch that was off the plate a little bit. Just kind of punches it out there. They're playing him over the other way to pull a little bit. Kind of rolled onto the throttle a little bit, but once he had it on the rug, made it in there really quick.
Polanco has hit in 4 straight. Infield is in. Andrew McCutchen at the plate. Ooh. That one inside. And right now you wonder if somebody's thinking about last night. Double number 4 for Polanco. Not had any instances of retribution for Goldschmidt being hit last night. And we hope that's just done and over with. Appears as though it is. 2 balls, no strikes to McCutchen. Goldschmidt, a fractured left hand. Frieri hit him last night in the 9th. Ernesto apologizing today. Tried to do it when Goldschmidt was on base last night. 2-0. And there it is. McCutchen hit and Delgado run from the game. There were pregame warnings issued, and McCutchen is struck in the 9th inning. And Clint Hurdle coming out to see if McCutchen's all right. McCutchen spikes the bat. I've never seen Andrew so upset on a baseball field as he is right now.
Well, I was hoping that, it wouldn't come to that. I mean, it's
95-mile-an-hour fastball right in the middle of the back.
You know, there's a big difference between pitching inside to get outs and trying to hit somebody with a fastball. Big difference. To me, this is finable and suspendable. You have got to be sit down and fined. There is no way that's not intentional. No way. He should not be allowed to go back to the mound for quite some time after that. That is a total different animal than trying to do your job and get outs and, pitch inside, and somebody might get accidentally hurt sometime. That is uncalled for. There was no reason whatsoever for any retaliation. There wasn't anything that was out of the ordinary what the Pirates did. But that right there is way out of the ordinary. I can't wait to see what Major League Baseball does about that pitch.
Well, last night, Ernesto Frieri.
I mean, that's just pitching inside. In fact, watch the hands move forward before they move back. In fact, they never moved back until the ball hit off of him. He was starting his hands forward to make a possible swing. So how bad could the pitch have been?
Well, the game ended last night, and some conversation between Russell Martin and a couple of the Diamondbacks. First base coach Dave McKay came in.
McKay was the instigator last night. He left the field and unnecessarily made comments
to Martin. And that's what started that. That Martin did not start that.
Well,
we saw a video earlier of McKay saying something over his shoulder to Martin as they were going out to shake hands.
There's a lot of conversation about that very thing today, saying that people just discussing whether or not McCutchen was going to get hit in retaliation. And he got it in a bad spot. .95 miles an hour in the spine. McCutchen. Having some words. More than likely at the Diamondbacks. We got one more game in this series, by the way. 3:30 tomorrow, the pregame show. 4:10 the first pitch. Francisco Liriano against Trevor Cahill. To be continued. So Liriano starting for the Bucks tomorrow as we look at our Nissan Road ahead. He's looked very, very good over his last 3 starts, on 2 runs and 11 hits, 19 innings, striking out 23. And the Pirates, most importantly, have won all 3 of those games. Trevor Cahill, 2 starts against the Pirates last year. He gave up 8 runs in 10 innings. And Frankie doesn't look too happy. Bases loaded, 1 out. Mike Davis with 2 grand slams this year. Yuri De La Rosa delivers outside. I agree with Bob. It'd be interesting to see what Major League Baseball does about that, because there's no question there was intent there.
No, well, intent is fine. I don't care about intent as long as if it was something that was called for. You know, I mean, there are times where you have to protect your players, but that was not one of them. I mean, that was you know, something we thought might happen, but to be honest with you, and we've shown the replay, there was nothing going on. It was just an inside fastball, and you saw Goldschmidt kind of start his hands forward, and he couldn't get him back out of the way in time. Now, the fact is that if he wouldn't have had his hand broken, then it wouldn't have been nothing. But because it broke his hand, that's what all this is all about.
Fortunately, McCutchen is,
and also they're gutless because they did it when the game got out of hand, not early when the game was you know, they waited until they're down by 4 runs at the end of the game before they do anything. That's a gutless move. Where was that pitch first inning of the game, boys? Tell me that. Snakes. Good name for that team.
Two and 2 to Ike Davis. He strikes out. Ike down on strikes. They'll bring up Russell Martin. Mike's had a tough night, 0 for 5. I think I might have said there were pregame warnings issued by the umpire. We understand that that's not the case. There were not any pregame warnings issued. Immediate ejection of Randall Delgado. Post-game show will be interesting as Dan can break this one down for you. Certainly talk about this one. Goldschmidt today said he knew there was no intent last night. I think when you watch that video again, you see where Martin does set up an inside target, but that Frieri missed the target. Alan Trammell, the bench coach, working for the ejected Kirk Gibson. He was gone in the second inning. 2 outs, bases full. 2 balls, no strikes. The official score, by the way, did review the play that Martin was involved in the 8th inning, and he will not change it to a hit, so it will be a straight error. And there's Ernesto getting ready to work in the bottom of the 9th. Diamondbacks will have the top of the order due up. Two and one to Martin. To left field, it's down for a hit. Pirates will add on. Jay scores. 6-1. 2-out RBI single for Martin. The second run batted into the game, his second hit.
Hope we hit for an hour.
Well, that's a good way to start to answer. Brett Morel last time up almost hit one out of here. He's coming up next. And Jay Hayes scoring. Base is still loaded.
Gregory might have scored, but he waited to see if that ball was going to hit the grass before he took off for home. Yes, there are 2 outs.
Should have been running. One-0 pitch to Morel. Base hit. Another run's going to come in, maybe 2. Here comes McCutchen. Inciarte will not make a throw. 2 more runs come in. And the Pirates pile on in the 9th.
I think McCutchen was hoping for a throw. He definitely wanted a throw.
I don't think I would have wanted to be the catcher for the Diamondbacks if there was a throw and McCutchen coming in. Rule or no rule?
Yeah, we wouldn't have had to worry about the rule.
Two runs come in. 8-1.
Guess there's times just gotta let the boys make up their own rules.
And Tony Watson's going to hit. Pitch in for a strike. So Snyder's been used off the bench. Morel, Sanchez, and Martinez. Only the backup catcher Chris Stewart is left. So Sanchez, Watson hitting for himself. The 4th career 3 RBI game for Brent Morel. McCutchen running like it was a 1-run game.
Yes, he was. He wanted to make sure he had plenty of head of steam coming toward the plate.
He's not in a good mood.
No, he is very unhappy right now.
Strike to Watson, owner of exactly 1 major league hit. Catch is usually so easygoing and mild-mannered. Always smiling. And that's the other side of Andrew. It's pulled out of him tonight. Watson works a full count. 15 runs in the 8th and 9th innings last night and tonight combined. Tony takes strike 3. Watson out. 8-1, heading to the bottom of the ninth. Touch punt in the back by Delgado. Delgado ejected. Pirates added on some more runs. Now the home plate umpire Ron Culpa came out to Ernesto Frieri and told him, you go play it straight, kid. Frieri was the one that hit Goldschmidt last night, and that's why the Diamondbacks retaliated tonight. Ernesto Frieri will face Ender Inciarte. One for 3 tonight. Singleton scored in the 5th. He walked his last time up in the 7th. Well, if there's one guy the Bucks will rally around, it's Andrew McCutcheon.
Yeah, he definitely will. He's the guy.
One and oh. Arte hits this one well to right center field. McCutcheon looking for it. He's got it for the out. And gone.
The way McCutcheon's feeling right now, he'd have ran into the swimming pool to make that catch. You know, the guys out in the pool were telling him, plenty of room, you got it. They were giving him help.
Hill takes a strike. He didn't need any help, but he got some anyway. Yeah, the guys out in the pool, and they're seeing a good one tonight. Policeman, fireman from Pittsburgh. There's the 1-1 to Hill. Surrender the booty. There are a lot of Jolly Rogers here tonight. Every time something happens on the field for the Pirates, right over the first base dugout, there's 4 or 5 of them. And there's a lot of other ones scattered around the stadium. Two to Hill.
Well, what Arizona flags there were, a lot of those have gone home. Those are getting a little sparse at this time.
3-2 pitch to Aaron Hill. It's up and in. Ball 4.
See, now that pitch right there is just about the same pitch, same spot, isn't it? I mean, if you looked at those 2 pitches back to back, that's the same spot as he threw one the other night. So now, should we get drilled again because of that pitch right there? Now, if Hill would have hung in there and started to swing, he would have got hit in the back of his hand. That's what I'm talking about. Like, their pitches get thrown inside. Most of the time, guys move and get out of the way. Occasionally, they get hit.
Toronto swing and a miss, and Hill takes second base. Defensive indifference. Pirates hang on and win this one tonight. They'll match their high water mark of the season at 8 games over 500. Oh, this one's way out of here. Peralta with a 2-run homer. His 4th of the year. It's his 3rd hit of the night. And now it's 8-3.
Out over the plate. Peralta is a great story, isn't it?
The guy was a pitcher in the minor leagues with the Cardinals for 3 years. Absolute no doubt smash.
Certainly looks like he's finding a home as the right fielder here in Arizona.
0-1 to Mark Trumbo. 1-1. Hitting 197 is Trumbo. So Martin waiting for it. And the Pirates are an out away from wrapping up this ball game.
That's about as high as you can hit a pop fly in here without like hitting the rafter. That one was up there.
Win number 59 is going to be good. The Pirates will be a game and a half out of first place. And that's the most important thing tonight. The Pirate victory and gaining ground on Milwaukee. Strike one. Will stay in front of St. Louis in the standings. In August, if you start to look at the wild card standings, the Pirates, as of this morning, as of last night, were in that second wild card spot by themselves. And now the Diamondbacks down to their last strike. Looking for their 5th win on the road. Josh Harrison, another multi-hit night, 3 hits, including a home run. Josh also scored a pair. Actually, he scored 3 runs. Gregory Polanco scored twice. McCutchen scored twice. And Brent Morrell with 3 RBIs, coming in the 6th inning for Pedro. Frieri with mop-up duty. Just trying to wrap it up here. Bill's so mad he's talking to himself.
I understand why he's upset. 9 innings went by and nothing.
2-2. Inside.
I guess they must be furious with Anderson, huh?
Well, Chase Anderson went 6 innings and he faced McCutchen 3 times. That's got a hit off him, and Anderson walked him his first time up. High fly ball, right field, over toward right center. Gregory Polanco puts it away, and the Pirates take this game and take a 2-1 lead in the series. Win number 59. The Bucks equaling their high water mark in the season, 8 games over 500, and are now a 1.5 games behind Milwaukee in the Central Division standings.
Well, they did it again. They broke it out late. Like last night, you'd kind of be nice to see a starter get a win, but you know that's the way it's been. The bullpen coming in and getting these W's. But if the runs are going to come after the 6th, 7th inning, so be it. As long as they eventually get up on the board.
5-4 in the road trip. The